Om Ajnanatimandasya Jnanjana Shalakaya Saksharamilitam Yena Tasmai Shruve Namah Chichitayamanopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutalisvam Rupakadamyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiyo Shiyuda Padkamalam Shiyum Vaishnavamsha Shirupam Jagajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savrutam Parjana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shivishakam Vitam Shah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jatpate Kaupesha Kopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwara Vrishabhana Sudhadevi Pranamama Haripriye Vancha Kalptrabhasha Kripa Sindhavesha Padnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnabhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutali Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamini Namaste Saraswata Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvishesha Srinyavadi Paskachai Desatarani Srila Prabhupada Ki. So we are starting a new chapter. In the previous chapter we heard about Krishna inquiring from his father about the yajna they are going to perform. And Krishna asked Nanda Maharaj that why is everyone so agitated? What's happening? That which devata are you worshipping? Is that what that sacrifice you are going to do? Is it a custom, or is it in the scriptures? So Nanda Maharaj was struck by his son asking all these questions. He was thinking, he's such a young boy, maybe he cannot understand the intricacies of a Vedic sacrifice. But still he explained, that we are doing this Indra Yajna because we are offering respect to the rain god who gives us rain, and because he gives rain, he gives life to all living entities. And he gives us vegetables, and he gives us grass, and our cows are eating grass. So out respect for the Deva, for Indra, because Indra controls the clouds, and the clouds give rain. So then Krishna replied that and said, "Oh my father, that everyone performs activities and gets reaction of his previous karma. If one has done pious activities, then the demigods, they are forced to give good reactions. So Indra will have being forced to give rain. So also the demigods are under the control of karma. Karma is supreme. He says, even if there is a god, he's also under control of karma, Krishna says. And then, after that, then Krishna says that the clouds, they give rain because of the material mode of passion. This Indra has nothing to do with these clouds, with this rain. And this Indra gives rain on the ocean also. The clouds give rain to the ocean where no water is needed. And so this Indra has nothing to do with it. And besides, Krishna said that you have done this in Indra Jagya for many years. Did Indra ever appear in the Jagya? No. Everyone has to act according to his karma. And to his material, psychophysical nature, which has been created by its previous karma. So, and our activity is the activities of Vaishyas. And Vaishyas, they are taking care of the cows. And cows need grass, needs water. And who provides that? Govardhana. So we should instead worship Govardhana instead of we should worship Govardhana instead of this Indra, which is useless. So Krishna wanted to make Indra really angry. And his father replied, yes, okay, we will do this this sacrifice, we will worship Govardhana, but also Indra at the same time. And Krishna replied, oh father, you prepared all these preparations for the Jagya. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of effort. So why do sacrifices? This Indra is useless. So use all the paraphernalia you have prepared for his Jagya for worshipping Govardhana. And all the Vrajavasis, residents of Vraj, and Nanda Maharaj agreed. They just wanted to satisfy Krishna. They were not really interested in this Karmavad philosophy that he was speaking, but they just out of love wanted to please Krishna. So they agreed. And then Krishna instructs them what to prepare, to make dal soups and so many preparations from butter, yogurt, milk, and milk sweets, and so many things, and rice, and they prepare all this, and they offer it to Govardhana. But Krishna, he expands himself and becomes a second mountain on Govardhana. And he expands himself, and Govardhana starts to eat all the preparations. Then after worshipping Govardhana by Nanda Maharaj and the Vrajavasis, they start to circumambulate Govardhana, and it becomes a great festival. And Krishna at the end instructs everyone should, from now on, every year, one should have this festival instead of this Indra Jagya. So all the Vrajavasis after the festival, they are blissful. And now everyone is happy, but not Lord Indra. That he thinks this Krishna, this talkative boy, who is a mere mortal, he will think he is a mortal, that he stopped my sacrifice. And he becomes very angry. So we have here in the beginning a chapter summary. Can someone read the chapter summary? Maybe someone can read the first 2 paragraphs. Share on the screen. Yeah, the first 2 paragraphs. Yep.
Chapter summary. This chapter describes how Lord Indra was overcome by anger when the residents of Braj cancelled his sacrifice, how he tried to punish them by sending forth a devastating rainfall to Vrindavan, and how Lord Sri Krishna protected Gokula by lifting Govardhana hill, and for 7 days using it as an umbrella to ward off the rain.
Yep.
Indra. Should I continue?
Yeah, continue.
Okay. Indra, angered at the disruption of the sacrifice made for him and falsely presuming himself the supreme controller, said, "People often give up the pursuit of transcendental knowledge, the means for self-realization, and imagine that they can cross over the ocean of material existence by mundane, fruitive sacrifices. Similarly, these cowherd men have become intoxicated by pride and have offended me by taking shelter of an ignorant, ordinary child Krishna."
So that is his perception of Krishna, an ignorant, ordinary child. Okay, someone can read the next paragraph.
To remove this supposed pride of the resident of Russia, Indra sent the clouds known as Samvartaka, whose function is to facilitate the destruction of the world. He sent them to harass the Brajavasis with downpours of rain and hail. The Gopal community was very disturbed by this and approached Krishna for shelter. Understanding that this trouble was the work of Indra, Krishna decided to smash to pieces Indra's false prestige, and thus he leaves Govardhana hill with rather hand. He then invited the entire Gopal community to take shelter in the driest place beneath the mountain. For 7 successive days, he held up the hill until Indra finally understood Krishna's mythic power and ordered the clouds to withdraw.
Thank you. I'll read the last one. When the coward villagers emerged from beneath the mountain, Krishna put Govardhana hill in its proper place. The cowards were in ecstasy, showing loving symptoms such as flowing tears and baldy hair standing on end. They embraced Krishna and offered him benedictions according to their respective positions, while the demigods in heaven rained down flowers and sang the praises. So when I gave this section, facilitate this section for the Vrindavan Institute for Higher Education, that we went also deep in Ananda Vrindavan Shampoo, where you have also these very beautiful descriptions and many other details we find here. But what I did is I went to the entire section again and I highlighted some of the comments of our previous acharyas, which we will discuss now. We will start with text 1. Can someone read the translation and the purport of text 1?
Translation of text 1. Sukadeva Goswami said, "My dear King Parikshit, when Indra understood that his sacrifice had been put aside, he became furious with Nanda Maharaj and the other cowherd men who were accepting Krishna as their Lord." Purport. At the very beginning of this chapter, Sukadeva Goswami reveals the foolishness of Indra and the absurdity of his anger Indra was frustrated because the residents of Vrindavan accepted Sri Krishna as their Lord. But the simple fact is that Sri Krishna is the Lord, not only of the residents of Vrindavan, but of all that exists, including Indra himself. Thus, Indra's petulant reaction was ridiculous. As the common saying goes, pride goes before a fall.
Yes, that's it. If we see someone who has pride, we know we can for certain known, at least when it's material pride, that this person has no bhakti, no love, no deep love for Krishna. And Krishna wanted to remove that pride. That was the whole purpose of the previous chapter, to make Indra angry, to bring him down from his position of false pride, and that will happen in this chapter. So in a few lines, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a summary of the entire chapter in two sentences. In the 25th chapter, Indra speaks with anger and sends rain to destroy the people of Vraj. Krishna, holding Govardhana in his left hand, protects Vraj. Indra became angry with the inhabitants of Vraj, showing at once his foolishness and uselessness of his anger. So Sanatan Goswami, see, commentaries of Shiva Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, because Shiva Goswami is a disciple of Sanatan Goswami, he mostly repeats, so I just take the essence. So the sacrifice was disrupted, for materials meant for his sacrifice had been used up, and he did not receive his portion of the sacrifice, because that was Krishna's suggestion. You use all what you have prepared for the Indra Jagya and use it for Govardhana. O king, you know about the dangers of pride. The others were Upananda and other cowards and the priests. The others, yes, the verse says, yeah. Nanda Maharaj and the other coward men who were accepting Krishna as their Lord. Others, Upananda, the elderly brother of Nanda Maharaj. Good. Now we have text 2. Can someone read text 2, please?
Mahaprabhu, Kripa Prabhu.
Okay. I'm reading Mataji. Angry Indra sent forth the clouds of universal destruction, known as Samvartaka. Imagining himself the supreme controller, he spoke as follows.
Yeah, you can read the purport also.
The word Ishamani here is very significant. Indra arrogantly considered himself to be the Lord, and thus he exhibited the typical attitude of a conditional soul. Many thinkers in the 20th century have noted the exaggerated sense of individual prestige characteristic of our culture. Indeed, writers have even coined the phrase the me generation. Everyone in this world is more or less guilty of the syndrome called Ishamana, or proudly considering oneself the Lord.
Yeah, that Bhakti Pragati Jan Gunan. Everyone tries to exploit the material nature that we think are the worlds, the lords of the material energy. The spirit soul is higher spiritual energy. material energy is the lower energy. But it's not just because we are the higher energy, we have the right to exploit the lower energy. No. That lower energy is Krishna's energy and should be served for it should be used for his service. And Indra forgets is a servant of Indra, is a servant of Krishna. Indra forgets his position. And Krishna wants to remind him that. So this verse describes Indra's anger, Vishwanath Srivakti Thakur says. Yeah, that is going to send some Vartaka clouds, which are meant for the end of the universe, when the universe is destroyed. Then these Samvartaka clouds are being used, but he sent them now. And these Samvartaka clouds, they don't want to do it. But Indra is their boss. and so they have to follow his order. But reluctantly they are doing that. We will hear a little more about that further. That text 3. Indra said,
Sorry.
Yeah, okay, you can read.
Sorry, Maharaj.
Please read.
Indra said, just see how these cowherd men living in the forest have become so greatly intoxicated by their prosperity. They have surrendered to an ordinary human being, Krishna, and thus they have offended the gods. Purport.
Yeah, please.
Purport. Of course, Indra was really saying that the cowherd men had offended him, Indra, by taking shelter of Krishna, whom Indra considered to be Mritya, or immortal. This was certainly a gross miscalculation on Indra's part.
Sometimes we may also think, this person offended me. But was it the intention of this person to offend you? You cannot see in their consciousness. So we have to be very careful that we may think, I feel like that. So Indra was really feeling like that. They have offended me. And he was thinking Krishna as an ordinary human being. So Shiva Goswami, Indra said, just see how these coward men living in the forest have become so greatly intoxicated by their prosperity. Because the coward boys, they were quite rich. Prabhupada said many times, if you have a land and cows, that's your riches. Then, they have surrendered to an ordinary human being, Krishna. And thus they have offended the gods. A little further. Upasritya indicates falling from dharma, reputation and family rules. By saying this, he shows his superiority over humans and the devata. Thus he mentions that the offense is against the devatas, not just himself. So, because Indra is not alone. That you have to. Is the lord of the clouds, but the clouds are carried by the wind. That's Vayu. And the clouds, they are evaporating. It's under the influence of the sun. So there are more demigods involved here. So Krishna is not only curtailing the pride of Indra, but also of all these other demigods who are helping him. That will also be explained a little further. However, another meaning can be found in his words. The people of Braj, as dwellers in the forest and cowards, were most sattvic in qualities. They surrendered to Krishna, who was the Parabrahman in human form, who was most affectionate to his devotees. Therefore, it was proper that they ignored the devatas, because Krishna is there, that all the demigods are servants of Krishna. And when they are forget, they become intoxicated by pride. Yes, translation, next verse. Which next to read?
Shall I read, Maharaj?
Yeah, the next one.
Their taking shelter of Krishna is just like foolish attempt of men who abandon transcendental knowledge of the self and instead try to cross over the great ocean of material existence in the false boats of fruitive ritual sacrifices.
That Indra says here they are taking shelter of Krishna. And he compares it of someone who tries to cross the ocean of material existence in a false boat. What are the false boats here? Two false boats. Fruitive activities and ritual sacrifices. Fruitive activities to get enjoyment and ritual activities to go to heaven. The Jiva Goswami says, because of his great anger, he does not complete the sentence. The real meaning, however, is this: just as the devotees, giving up impersonal knowledge along with sacrifices and desire to cause existence simply by taking shelter of Krishna, the cowards gave up my worship and tried to cause material existence by taking shelter of him. Hare Krishna. Text 5. Can someone read?
Open Keshav Prabhu. Are you available, Open Keshav Prabhu, to read? Okay, I'll read. These cowherd men have acted inimically towards me by taking shelter of this ordinary human being, Krishna, who thinks himself very wise, but who is simply a foolish, arrogant, over-talkative child.
So that's his perception of Krishna, a foolish, arrogant, over-talkative child. Over-talkative child because he spoke this karma mimamsa, which is a false philosophy. That's how he perceives Krishna. So Indra wanted to rebuke Krishna as Vatshalam, because the Lord had presented many audacious arguments in the line of Karma Mimamsa and Sankhya philosophy, even though he did not accept these arguments. Thus Indra called the Lord Balisha foolish. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Krishna is talkative, Vatshalam, speaking nonsense which contradicts the conclusions of Mimamsa and Sankhya philosophy. Indra says Krishna is talkative because he had spoken speculatively and harshly about Karmavad. And Sanatana Goswami, his statement indicates his great pride. Mentioning himself indicates his pride. Mentioning it himself. Yeah, it says here, yeah. Okay. Over-talkative child. Text 6. Can someone read 6, please?
To the clouds of destruction, King Indra said, "The prosperity of these people has made them mad with pride, and their arrogance is backed up by Krishna. Now, go and remove their pride and bring their animals to destruction." Forward. It is clear from this verse that the residents of Vrindavan have become highly prosperous simply by protecting cows. Dairy products are always desirable in civilized society, and the surplus can be traded for many valuable commodities. Thus, simply by a Vedic dairy enterprise, the residents of Vrindavan were wealthy.
Yes, we are wealthy, healthy, and happy. Even in the material sense, and most of all, they were eternal associates of the Supreme Lord. So all their wealth is mentioned here, that all large quantities of milk, cheese, butter, yogurt, and so on, that, and then, yeah. Anyway, that's their wealth. So, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The cowherd men are anointed with sandalwood, remove the heat in their bodies by the cool rain, and cool the cows, making them tremble. And when Krishna lifts up Govardhana, cause him to make a beautiful place for them to stay. That will happen soon, yeah. Shiva Goswami, having made clear his anger at the cowards, because of their fault of having become arrogant, he then orders the clouds to perform their evil actions. The cowards have become intoxicated or swelling in size of their bodies because of their wealth of cows, because of Krishna, since he has encouraged their herding of cows to get milk and other produces. They have become strong because of Krishna. So we see here Indra, because of his material consciousness, his pride, he sees the fault always in others. He thinks, I'm a good person, but the fault lies in others. That's material consciousness. The material person sees himself as a good person, and the fault lies always with others. That we have learned when the four Kumaras cursed Jai and Vijay, then Lord Narayan came to the gate and said to the four Kumaras, please forgive me, the fault lies in me, he says. He says the fault lies in me. That's so in the spiritual world, if someone goes wrong, everyone says the fault lies in me. In the material world, everyone says, no, I'm a good person. The fault lies with the others, and projects the fault into the others, his own fault. Because what's the fault of Indra? Pride and arrogance. But he projects it in the Rajavasis. So that's the difference between material consciousness, spiritual consciousness. 7. Can someone read the translation?
I will follow you to Brasha, riding on my elephant Airavata, and talking with me the swift and powerful wind gods to decimate the conquered village of Nanda Maharaj.
So, here Indra says, I will be on top with Airavata the elephant, and So he wants to encourage these Samvartaka clouds to go with him, because they are frightened that they don't want to carry out of his order, but they have to do this because they know they are meant for the end of for the end of the creation, not now. But Indra is asking us that. So they were frightened. Indra spoke to the frightened clouds, "I will also come behind you, desiring to destroy the pastures of Nanda." The real meaning is, "I'm coming, desiring to see the pastures of Nanda." Jiva Goswami. "I will come riding up Airavata, since if you lack water, I can supply it. I will come along with 49 winds, different winds. So that's Vayu, different winds. He had a desire to destroy Vraj and not Mathura. That's interesting. That's what Jiva Goswami said. He wants to destroy Vraj, but not Mathura. This means he desired to become friends with Kamsa. The real meaning of Jigamsaya, however, is, "I will follow you with a desire to see Nanda's place." Sanatan Goswami says, "I will destroy that village and not the city of Mathura." He was afraid of the powerful of Kamsa. Here it said he is afraid from Kamsa. Jiva Goswami said he desired to become a friend with Kamsa. Interesting. Text 8. Next to it.
Yes. Sukadeva Goswami said, "An Indra's ordered the clouds of universal destruction, released untimely from their bonds, went to the covered pastures of Nanda Maharaj. There they began to torment the inhabitants by powerfully pouring down torrents of rain upon them." Purport: the Samambhakta clouds could cover the entire earth with a single vast ocean.
So, with great strength, these clouds began flooding the simple land of Raj. Yeah. Okay, there it starts, the inundation of Vrindavan. Text 9. Someone can read the translation? Yes, Govinda Dev Prabhu.
Guru,
Maharaj, actually, this had been imported from Jiva Goswami's Tattva Sandarbha.
These are the comments on the Bhagavatam of Jiva Goswami.
From which literature, Maharaj, it had been imported?
Please?
Krama Sandarbha, Krama.
I don't understand what you want.
The Jiva Goswami's purports had been derived from Krama Sandarbha, Krama.
These purports are his purpose on these verses of the Bhagavatam.
Right, but this Jiva Goswami's comments, Jiva Goswami's
comments on these specific verses, yeah. They may be also in other scriptures. That maybe in the Sandarbhas, most of his comments are also mentioned. But these are his comments, and mostly they are in line with Sanatana Goswami, practically the same mostly. Because he's a disciple of Sanatana Goswami. It's clear they are very clear that they are connected if you read it. Yes. But what we are reading here is the compilation of Bhanu Maharaj. Bhanu Maharaj compiled this based on the commentaries. That's all I know.
Yes, Maharaj.
So, 9. Propelled by the fearsome wind
Yes,
gods,
Prabhu.
the clouds
Pardon me.
blazed with lightning bolts and roared with thunder as they hurled down hailstones. Someone can read the purport now?
Sridhar Swami explains that the word Marudganai indicates the seven great winds, such as Avaha, who presides over the region of Bhuvarloka, and Pravaha, who holds the planet in their places. Shall I continue, Prabhu? Maharaj?
No. So Vishvanasya Thakur says, Indra released those clouds capable of creating an ocean in the universe at the time of destruction. Losing his discrimination because of anger, he released the clouds not considering the proper amount. The clouds began to rumble with thunder, and they were moved here and there by the Avaha and Pravaha winds. The clouds began to pour down pellets of hail. That text 10. Next to it, text 10.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
As the clouds released torrents of rains as thick as massive columns, the earth was submerged in the flood, and high ground could no longer be distinguished from low.
Yeah, was so heavy. Vishvanasya says, they began to pour down rain in sheets as broad as pillars and flooded the earth in rain. Because of this flood, one could not see the high and low areas on the earth anymore. It was so intense. Text 11.
The cows and other animals shivering from excessive rain and wind, and the cowherd men and ladies pained by the cold, all approached Lord Govinda for shelter.
Yeah.
The cows were shivering and afflicted with cold because they were outside. Since the cowherds were generally outside, they are mentioned next. Since the women were generally inside, they are mentioned last. All of this was arranged by the will of the Lord in order to enact the pastime of lifting Govardhana, to increase the prema of the people of Raj, and to show that the cause was Indra's pride. Otherwise, the cows and people of Raja could never suffer.
So they were experienced these excessive rains, and they took shelter of Krishna. How do? We will hear in text 12. Can someone read text 12?
The trembling from the districts brought by the severe rainfall and trying to cover their heads and calves with their own whole bodies, the cows approached the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Thank you. Sanatana Goswami says, they took shelter of Krishna's feet, approaching very close out of affection and with a desire to protect him. This would reveal his unlimited powers in protecting his devotees and his affection for the miserable. Text 13.
The coward men and women addressed the Lord, Krishna, Krishna, O most virtuous one, please deliver the cows from one with the Indra, O Lord, you are affectionate to your devotees, please save us too, save us also.
Yeah, can read the purport also.
At the time of Krishna's birth, Gargamuni had predicted Anena Sarva Sarvagrahi Yugam Anjanas Trisapat Trisatha. By his grace, he will easily cross the beyond all difficulties. The residents of Vrindavan were convinced that in such a great emergency, Lord Narayan would consider empower Krishna to protect them. They accepted Krishna as everything, and Krishna reciprocated their love.
So what's interesting here, the Vrajavasis, they say, save the cows, Krishna, save the cows. And while you're saving the cows, save also us. But first the cows. That is most important. That Shiva Goswami says, they do not mention Indra's name out of hatred or thinking it's sinful to utter his name. That or you should save us who cannot counteract the anger of Indra. That so then Krishna says, what power do I have to do this? And they reply, O Lord, you are endowed with all powers. We have seen you subdue Kaliya with your extraordinary powers. And then Krishna says, but it's not proper to show one's power in front of the devatas. And the devotee says, O Lord, affectionate to the devotees, there is nothing that you will not do for your devotees. Shiva Goswami here brings this conversation within his commentary. Text 14. Yes. Can someone read the translation and the purport?
Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that the severe distress Indra apparently inflicted upon the residents of Vrindavan was an arrangement made by Sri Krishna's pastime potency to enhance the loving dealings between the residents and the Lord. The Acharya gave the analogy that for a hungry person, the pain of hunger increases the happiness when he finally eats excellent food, and thus hunger can be said to enhance the
pleasure of eating.
Similarly, the residents of Vrindavan, although not experiencing ordinary material anxiety, felt a type of distress at the activities of Indra, and thus intensified the meditation on Krishna. When the Lord finally acted, the result was wonderful.
Text. Further commentaries. Many of the acharyas analyze also the Sanskrit and give different meanings. Interesting. Text 15. Yeah, next to read.
Sri Krishna said to himself, because we have to stop his sacrifice, Indra has caused this unusually fierce, unseasonable rain, together with terrible winds and hail.
So, yeah, you can read it.
Purport by Vishnu Chakravarti. Understanding that it was Indra's work, Krishna spoke to them in 5 verses. The excessive hail, Silamayan, was unseasonal, belonging to a season already past.
Thank you. So yes, Krishna will now speak on 5 verses. Verse 16.
Maran Mataji, please read Maran Mataji.
By my mystic power, I will completely counteract the disturbance caused by Indra. Demigods like Indra are proud of their opponents, and out of foolishness, they falsely consider themselves the Lord of the universe. I will not destroy such ignorance.
So
This then refer not only... Sorry.
yeah, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says this verse refers not only to Indra, but also to Vayu, and others who assisted him. So, because without Vayu, the clouds cannot move. So they are also part of the team. That so Krishna therefore says, yes, that demigods like Indra are proud, So there are many demigods involved here, and that falsely considering them the Lord. Then, yeah. Shiva Goswami says the plural used to indicate that by punishing Indra, he would teach other leaders also, like Vayu and others. Sanatana Goswami said, I will counteract this completely by showing the glory of Govardhana while giving happiness to all. I will destroy the pride and wealth arising from foolishness of those who think that he is the Lord of the world. I will do this by my own method, lifting Govardhana as pastime. Text 17. Yeah.
Since the demigods are endowed with the mode of goodness, the false pride of considering oneself the Lord should certainly not affect them. When I break the false prestige of those bereft of goodness, my purpose is to bring them relief. Purport: the demigods are supposed to be sad, sadbhava yukta, endowed with spiritual existence, since they are deputed servants of the Supreme Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 4.24, it is stated that Brahmarpanam Brahma Habir Brahmagno, yes, right. And therefore, as demigods or as servants of the Lord, their existence is pure, sadbhava. When the demigods fail to live up the high position given them by the Lord and deviate from proper behavior, they are not acting as demigods, but rather as conditioned souls. When a servant of the Lord becomes asat or irreligious, the Lord saves him from impiety by breaking the false prestige that has led him to be offensive or sinful. As stated by the Lord himself, Asya Manugrahanami Harishita Janam Sane. I give my blessings to a person by taking away his so-called opulence. Of course, the advanced stage of devotional service is to the Lord, as described by Rupa Goswami, is Yukta Vairagya, utilizing the opulence of this world to execute the Lord's mission. Obviously, the things of this world can be used wonderfully to spread the glories of God and to create a godly society. And a more advanced devotee will not be seduced by material paraphernalia, but will dutifully and honestly engage it solely for the pleasure of the Lord. In this particular case, Lord Indra forgot that he was a humble servant of God, and Lord Krishna therefore arranged to bring this bewildered demigod to his senses.
Thank you. Shiva Goswami said the devatas in sattva should not have great pride in thinking that they are Lord. So pride arises from rajas, tamas, forgetting one's position of the Supreme Lord. So the devatas should be in sattva. If it wants to bring them back to sattva. So I will create auspiciousness for them. So 18, please read.
I must therefore protect the coward community by my transcendental potency, for I am their shelter, I am their master, and indeed they are my own family. After all, I have taken a vow to protect my devotees.
Yes, the purpose.
Should I read this purport? Should I read it?
Yes.
The word Makcharanam indicates not only that Lord Krishna was the sole shelter for the Vraj Jnana, the people of Vrindavan, but also that Lord Krishna had established his home among them. The residents of Vrindavan adopted Krishna as their beloved child, friend, lover, and life itself, and the Lord reciprocated their feelings.
Yes, thank you. So the Shiva Goswami, a few parts of his comment so this is a quote that Manu has said that the elders, mother, father, chaste wife, sons and children should be protected even by criminal means. Probably Manu Samhita probably. At the end, I should break the pride of Indra in order to protect the people of Raj, since Indra has the tendency to oppose the cowards, surrender to me, and is not inclined to surrender. Sanatana Goswami, those who once surrender are mine, that is my vow. I cannot break it. Also Lord Ram said that when Vibhishan came, that and surrendered to Lord Ram, that okay. Text 19. Who can read?
Having said this, Lord Krishna, who is Vishnu himself, picked up Govardhana hill with one hand and held it aloft, just as easily as a child holds up a mushroom.
Okay, purport.
According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, when the Lord Krishna was preparing to lift Govardhana hill, a partial expansion of his Yogamaya potency, named Samhariki, temporarily removed all the rain from the sky, so that as he ran very swiftly from the porch of his house to the mountain, neither his turban nor other garments became wet.
and yeah,
I continue.
Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, when Krishna merely desired to lift Govardhan, is Samarika Shakti, destructive energy arising from Yoga Maya Shakti, cleared the rain from the sky to the extent that when Krishna ran from the veranda of his house to lift Govardhan, his clothing and turban did not get very wet. Jiva Goswami. He raised the hill with his left hand according to Harivamsa. He lifted from the base. One can see the split just north of Manasa Ganga. Interesting. Someone has seen that split. And that further, he held up the mountain like a mushroom. So it's also mentioned in the Vishnu Sahasranam. Anirdesya Vapushiman Ameyatma Maha Tridrik. He has an indescribable body, is endowed with all wealth, is immeasurable. He held up a great mountain. So the mountain rose up with wings. The Vidyadharas, Urgas, Gandharvas and Apsaras began to praise it. The mountain touched the clouds as a pastime. When he raised the mountains, a large stone separated from the middle of the lower portion of the hill and became situated in the middle of the whole. Krishna climbed on that stone and fixing the lower and middle portion of the mountain in his left hand, he held it up comfortably. Water was prevented coming under the mountains by the Lila Shakta, Harivamsa. This is also described in Ananda Vrindavan Shampoo when he lifted Govardhan. At the side, slabs of earth were falling, and they were forming a natural dike, so that the water could not flow under Govardhan. So he held the mountain in his left hand to make the people happy with the understanding that it was not tiring, since they were only interested in his happiness with no regard for their own lives. Otherwise, they would all die because of great sorrow. This should be understood in connection with other pastimes also. And then Sanatana Goswami. This is seen in some ancient deity form. He held up the mountain like a mushroom. This shows that he did not go beyond the pastime of his Balya period, being absorbed in those pastimes. Since he pervades the universe, Vishnu, there was no effort in doing this. Or he was like a child who holds up a mushroom, grasping its stem. So the mountain rose up with wings. The Vidyadharas, Urgas, Gandharvas and Apsaras began praising it. The wings are mentioned because he could not fit the mountain with his tender hands. The peak touched the clouds as part of his play. So at the moment it's 7:35 and we will pause for 10 minutes. At 7:45 we will resume. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, we will continue. Before we continue reading, I will be reading from Ananda Vrindavan Champu from Kavi Karnapuri, and I would advise you also to read the sections about Govardhana in this Ananda Vrindavan Chantu. There is a section about the glories of Govardhana, the description of the festival, so many details. And here, but now we will read here what happens, some of the exchanges with the Vrajavasis, which happens underneath Govardhana. So Krishna is underneath Govardhana. He is lifting Govardhana. He has Govardhana on his left pinky. And Mother Yasoda is standing before him. And Mother Yasoda is in great anxiety. Of course, that is transcendental ecstatic anxiety. So, it's mentioned here, Vrajeshvari Yasoda then addressed her son, "Oh, my darling child, you always act impudently due to the force of your uncontrolled senses." So Mother Yasoda said, you have uncontrolled senses to Krishna. For years we peacefully observed the Indra Jahya, but then you abruptly stopped it. So you could not control your senses, you had to stop it. And now see what happens. That although Krishna's body is inexhaustible and never blissful, Yasoda thought that he had overworked himself. Considering that, she expressed her motherly affection by reaching up to lovingly touch his lotus hand that held the hill. While doing this, she said, "Aho, how can your hand, which is as pure and soft as fresh butter, bear the heavy weight of this mountain without any help or support? O Giraj, please be compassionate and give me a boon. If you are actually some worshipable god, then do something to become soft and lightweight so that Krishna will not feel any distress. O honorable one, all my son's actions are in accordance with the instructions of Shastra and saintly persons." Bhatu said, Bhatu is another name of Manu Mangalam, the Brahmin friend of Krishna, and is also standing before Krishna, who is lifting the hill with Mother Yasoda. And so, yes, Madhu Mangal said, "Mother, do not speak like this. How can you say Krishna is in distress? Listen, what good has that angry Indra done for us? He brutally stacked us with his dense dark clouds and fierce lightning bolts. Now just appreciate the dazzling sweetness that Krishna is manifested in his pastime of lifting Govardhana. Had Indra not become angry, then we would not have the chance to relish this nectar to our eyes. So Mother Yasoda replied to Mother Mangal, he said, O bold one, holding a heavy load over the head can never be a show of sweetness. Lifting the enormous weight of Giriraj will cause one to become distressed and disabled. Just see, the locks of curly hair on Krishna's forehead are wet from perspiration. His face has dried out and become pale like a lotus wilted by the snow. His hands and feet have a ruddy color. How can a mother's heart, O Shiva, tolerate seeing such hardship? Krishna said, Mother, there cannot be anything more fun than this. So Krishna is always fun. Why are you worried about me for nothing? Just see, the great mountain of Govardhana is floating on its own in the open sky. I told you before that this body of mine is but an instrument of his will. Yasoda replied, My dear son, that may be true. How can you not be tired after standing here for so long and holding that mountain with your raised arm? O intelligent one, I will believe that you said, if Govardhana gives up the joyful association of your lotus hand, then flies around the sky playing on his own. So Madhu Mangal said to Mother Yasoda, O Queen of Vrindavan, don't you know that this great mountain is sitting on the lotus hand of Krishna by the strength of my mantras and special powers. Therefore, my friend is not feeling any pain from holding Giriraj. That is natural because everyone is favorably disposed toward the Lord of their hearts. Mother Yasoda said, O impudent one, what kind of nonsense are you speaking? I'm burning in anxiety over my son. His tendency is to act independently without caring for any good instruction, and now come here, make jokes and laugh about it. Then Nanda Maharaj interjected this, why are you scolding Batu? In this world, a person who is expert in diplomacy will use very affectionate words to encourage one in such a trying situation. So understanding the need of the time, Batu spoke appropriately. Besides that, our dear son very much appreciates the word of Batu, Mother Mangala. So that's just an excerpt, but it is such a long chapter giving details of Govardhana that here is the moment Krishna lifts the hill. So instantly Krishna picked up Govardhana hill with one hand and held it aloft with no more effort than a child takes to hold a mushroom or an elephant uses to lift a lump of grass. Many loud sounds echoed in all directions when the mountain rose into the air. The echoes sounded like a bunch of rowdy children yelling within its many caves. The lifting of Govardhana hill produced an angry, loud noise that crushed the pride of the elephants guarding the 8 directions. That furious sound roamed around and around with the covering of the universe. The sound had enough intelligence to win a wager, or whether it could break the long meditation of Brahma on Brahmaloka. That sound dared to interrupt the uproarious Madhvika wine-drinking festival of the old ladies in Pataloka. So in the Pataloka they were disturbed by by the sound, the cracking sound that Krishna lifted Govardhana. And Pataloka is one of the lower planetary systems, and the old wives have a wine drinking festival there. Interesting what they do there, but the sound came so far. So many interesting details that nice to read. We can't read everything, but that it is all about the worship. But here Krishna instructs his father how to do the worship of Govardhana. He said, collect pots full of milk and make first-class milk sweets like sweet rice. Cook many tasty foods and fancy cakes. Bring leaf bowls full of ghee, honey, and nectar drinks. Prepare an ocean of yogurt, buttermilk and fresh butter. Build a mountain of rock candy and cover all directions with an abundance of shikarini rasal. Send messengers to invite the Brahmins, feed them sumptuously until they laugh and their faces beam with brilliant garlands of their blissful smiles. At that moment the Brahmins will consider that the heavenly storehouses of nectar are totally insignificant. Call the priest to conduct the fire sacrifice and distribute cows in charity to the Brahmins. Those amongst you who are simple-hearted should just try to feed the Brahmins. So that is from Ananda Vrindavan Shampoo. It's just to give you an idea of the descriptions there. I would say, do you have access to Ananda Vrindavan Shampoo? Otherwise I can send you this copy if you want, but then you have to inform me how I should do that. But it's good to read it.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, we don't have it. Maybe if you can send it to Ramakrishna Prabhu by email and then he can forward it to us.
Okay, I will do that.
Thank you.
So now we are going back, reading where we were. Let's see, commentaries here. Oh, it's here. We were at text 20. Can someone read text 20, translation? Do you see it? The Lord then addressed.
Yes, Maharaj. The Lord then addressed the cowherd community. O mother, O father, O residents of Braja, if you wish, you may now come under this hill with your cows.
Yeah.
Srila Vishwanath. Oh,
yeah,
should I read?
Yeah, read only the highlighted part.
Okay. Ordinarily, a large cowherd community, which included many thousands of cows, calves, bulls, and so on, could not fit under the base of a medium-sized hill like Sri Govardhana. However, because the hill was in ecstasy, being touched by the hand of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it acquired inconceivable power and even felt the hundreds of deadly thunderbolts thrown upon it, backed by angry Indra, to be offerings of soft, fragrant flowers. At times, Sri Govardhana was not even aware that the thunderbolts were striking.
Yeah, it's in Ananda Vrindavan Shampoo. It's described when Krishna lifted the hill, but when you go on the hill, that there was no raining touching Govardhana. There were some misty clouds, but all the animals were there and were happy. They were not touched by the rain. That's yes, Mahaprabhu, Kripa Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, Jagat Pranam. I just wanted to know, like when they are given all the details in the Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran, and these details which are coming up in the commentary, who has been the witness to these all these details and such intricate details? Who has been the witness and how are these coming in the commentaries? It's just you know
Okay.
inquisition I had with me. I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you.
Yeah, that's important to understand. There are various ways our previous commentators, how they give comments, previous acharyas. One way is by analyzing the Sanskrit, the Sanskrit words. You can analyze in different angles, and that gives a deeper insight in the meaning of the verse. But also by visualizing it, they see things which logically should have been there. But the most important source for many of the acharyas is because they were pure devotees, they had access to the aprakat lila of Krishna. They saw the lila in their heart. So, and because they saw the lila in their heart, they see all the details and describe them for us. But that is also a source that they were self-realized, they were entering Krishna's aprakat lila. And we have also seen, because we are now in the beginning here, but we will see further in the chapter of Uddhav, when Uddhav visits Vrindavan, that we will see how it's described there. Uddhav is sent by Krishna because Krishna could promise to come back to Vrindavan, but he could not because kings like Jarasandha and so on could attack him. So he sent Uddhav. Uddhav, who was a disciple of Brihaspati, who was very learned and who was also looking like us Krishna, and who was a great devotee of Krishna. But Uddhav was not on the level of devotion of the Vrajavasis. But there he had the experience that it's described there by our commentators that, because to understand this, we should have to go deep in that chapter, which we cannot do now, von Uddhav. But I tell you just what's mentioned there. That so first one has to understand what is aprakat lila and prakat lila. A prakat lila was the lila which was manifested 5,000 years ago by Krishna on this earth. Aprakat lila is eternal lila, which happens in Goloka Vrindavan. That and in Nectar of Instruction, there in text 8, Srila Prabhupada explains, by chanting of the holy name, one comes to first Varanavasta, one accepts the holy name and is situated in Sambandha Gyan, and then one comes to the level of Smaranavasta, remembering Krishna. So sometimes this is in the higher stages, when the heart is purified. Sometimes one remembers Krishna, sometimes not. Then the periods that one remembers Krishna become longer. The periods that we forget Krishna become shorter. And at a certain moment, remembrance becomes without interruption. Nectar of Instruction, text 8, purport, you can read it. And there Prabhupada explains, when remembrance of Krishna becomes uninterrupted, then Krishna starts to manifest himself to the devotee. First, his beauty, his beautiful form, his qualities. Then he shows his pastime, his dham, his holy dham. You see, Krishna is is in a certain place, and then you see Krishna's associates, and then you enter Krishna's pastimes in samadhi. And you see Krishna's pastimes in Goloka Vrindavan, Aprakat Lila, in your heart. That is called Ashakti also by Prabhupada. Transcendental television. One sees Krishna's past, eternal pastimes in one's heart. And in this chapter of the Uddhav Gita it's mentioned, the cowherd boys, when Krishna left, they felt such a separation from Krishna that they were always thinking of Krishna, and they entered Krishna's Aprakat Lila and had direct experience with him. This is very esoteric. But our previous acharyas, they see Krishna's eternal pastimes in their heart. And they can describe all these details because they see it. Does that help?
Maharaj, I'm very grateful, very thankful to you for giving this perspective. Honestly, this perspective was not known to me at all. This perspective has totally given a different dimension, which I was honestly not privy. I'm very, very, very grateful to you for opening this dimension and sharing this commentary. I am seeing it for the first time, and the 7,500 pages which is there, I have not been exposed to it before. I am very grateful to you, and if we can have access to this, it will be a very great divine blessing from your side. So, Maharaj, it will be very.
Yeah, I can share it at the end. I will send all this to Ram Krishna, and you can have it. That I got this also because this what's on the screen. I got it personally from Bhanu Maharaj. But I went also 10 years ago to the Bhaktivedanta course and so on, and we learned all this from Burijan Prabhu and Narayani Ataviyaji. So I'm also very grateful for them. At the end of the course, this course ended in 2011, the first Bhaktivedanta course ended. And Burijan Prabhu asked me to teach Bhaktivedanta, but I didn't want to do it. But now, last years, they forced me a bit to do it, and I'm trying my best.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. We are really grateful to you. And what is the name of this book, Maharaj?
Which book?
Which we are referring to, which is in front of us. What is the name of this book?
Oh, these are the commentaries of our acharyas on the 10th canto. All the commentaries are there.
This is only the 10th canto. The 7,500 pages is only 10th canto.
Only the 10th canto. I have also the 11th canto, but this is only the 10th canto. And this has been done by Bhanu Maharaj, but that's also published in book form. You can buy it at BLS, Bhaktivedanta Library Services. They have all these books on their website, and you can order them. Yes, but I got this from Bhanu Maharaj 10 years ago because they wanted me to facilitate the Bhaktivedanta course, and I asked him, do you have these translations? And he was so kind to send me this to me. Good. Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj, so much. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
So, the Lord then addressed the cowherd community, or mother or father or residents of Raj, if you wish you may come under this hill with your cows. So we have read the purport, but the So the essence here is that Govardhana, by Krishna's touch, felt ecstatic, and he extended himself. How did that happen? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains. On being touched by Krishna's hand, Govardhana became filled with bliss and attained inconceivable strength, so that when Indra hurled hundreds of thunderbolts on his back, they felt like the touch of flower garlands, and he expanded his form to 32 miles, so that all inhabitants, cows, buffaloes, and other animals could live comfortably beneath this shelter. Krishna says in Harivamsa, in lifting up Govardhana, I've made such a large area that all the 3 walls can be protected there. What to speak of Vraj? The animals on top of Govardhana, such as the deer and the wild pigs and birds, did not find any difficulty from rain when Krishna lifted the hill. Because according to Harivamsa, when Krishna lifted Govardhana, he lifted it as high as the clouds. Seeing that the clouds could pour rain only on the lower portions of Govardhana, the animals ascended to the top of the mountain above the clouds. Yeah. Shiv Goswami, he makes the same reference. 21, yes. Someone can read the translation.
You should have no fear that this mountain will fall from my hand, and don't be afraid of the wind and rain, for your deliverance from these afflictions has already been arranged.
Okay. Text 22, next one.
Their minds do specify that Lord Krishna, they all entered beneath the hill, where they found ample room for themselves and all the cows, wagons, servants, and priests, and for all other members of the community as well.
Thank you. Sanatana Goswami. There was plenty of space since Govardhana extended for Yojana and expanded to suit a number of people. In Kali Yuga, like the Lord Govardhana has been almost covered up. By the will of the Lord and power of Govardhana, when people entered the hole, the rain from the top of the hill did not fall on them, and the rain did not enter from the sides. Of course, Govardhana was much bigger than 5,000 years ago. The Lord revealed his nature as Bhagavan, as previously by lifting the mountain easily like an umbrella as a small child, even though he had all powers. Now, text 23. Can someone read? And also the highlighted purport.
Krishna, forgetting hunger and thirst and putting aside all considerations of personal pleasure, stood there holding up the heel for 7 days as the people of Braja gazed upon him.
Yeah.
So, according to Vishnu Puran, Lord Krishna held up the mountain while his praises were chanted by the residents of Braja, all of whom now had the opportunity to dwell together with him and who glanced at him with joyful and amazed eyes. Thus the cowherd men and women were all elated, and out of loving affection, they opened their eyes wide.
Yeah, you can imagine the gopis, they could not look directly to Krishna. That was socially unacceptable. They were looking at Krishna from the corners of their eyes, but now they could look Krishna face to face for 7 days here. That Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The inhabitants forgot about hunger and thirst for 7 days because they were immersed in bliss on seeing Krishna continuously. This is explained in the Vishnu Purana. Krishna watched by the inhabitants of Raj, with eyes wide with affection, held the mountain steadily. It should be understood that Krishna stood facing everyone. At this time, the inhabitants' hunger and thirst disappears on seeing the youthful beauty of Krishna, and Krishna's hunger and thirst disappears on seeing the beauty of his beloved gopis. It should be understood that Mathura Mandal did not become inundated in water, because his Icha Sakti dried up the water immediately. 6 Gatikas make up 1 day, 7 days passed, if it were 1 Gatika for the inhabitants of Raj. These are some quotes from Shiva Goswami on the same subject. Text 24.
When Indra observed this exhibition of Lord Krishna's mystic power, he became most astonished, pulled down from his platform of false pride, and his intentions thwarted. He ordered his clouds to desist.
Yeah, he became afraid now, seeing Krishna's power, and he was thinking Krishna will punish me. I thought of him to be an ordinary person, but he's the Supreme Lord, as he's my master. So Shiva Goswami said he made the clouds and winds stop giving disturbance. Because he feared he would be in trouble. Text 25. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Seeing that the fierce wind and rain had now ceased, the sky had become clear of rain cloud, and the sun had risen. Lord Krishna, the lifter of Govardhana hill, spoke to the cowherd community as follows. Jiva Goswami, seeing the sun becoming visible, Udita, seeing the fierce wind and rains had stopped, he informed the people of this. He looked horizontally and noticed this since he was holding the mountain with his hands. But a burst of enthusiasm, Sukadev had a vision of Krishna lifting Govardhana and thus described him as Govardhandharaha. Sanatan Goswami, hearing that the sun becoming visible, Udita, and that the fierce wind and rains had stopped, he spoke to the people because he personally did not investigate being attached to the happiness of holding up the mountain. Others saw and told him.
So others told Krishna that the rain has stopped. Yes, text 26. Next one.
Lord Krishna, my dear cowherd men, please go out with your wives, children, and possessions. Give up your fear. The wind and rain have stopped, and the river's high waters have subsided. O cowherd, you have protected the cows from the rain. That the rivers have decreased their waters is not astonishing, since the heat of Krishna's power has made the showering waters shrink. Without him doing that, the clouds of universal destruction would have inundated everything. Dana refers to cows, or cows and their other wealth.
Thank you.
Okay.
Because Sanatana Goswami is more or less the same. Thank you. Text 27.
After collecting the respective...
After collecting their respective cows and running their handy into the wagons, the cowherd men went out. The women, children, and elderly persons gradually followed them.
Thank you. So loading... Yeah, I will read the rest. Loading their goods on the carts, the cowherd men emerged from under the mountain. Shiva Goswami, after he had lifted the mountain and then spoke the cowherd's who had defeated Indra by accepting Krishna and had resorted to Krishna alone, left the cavity. Gathering the cows, along with wealth and carts, the cows, women, children, and elders slowly left, since if they quickly left all at once, they would be crushed. So many were there. Sanatana Goswami. They went slowly because that was their nature, or because of fear of more rain. Or they would not go to the forest because they could not give up looking at Krishna. Or everyone went slowly since they were attached to seeing his face at that time. Text 28.
Going to read.
While the living creatures looked on, the Supreme Personality got it, put down the hill in its original place, just as it had stopped before. The Lord, however, remained happy, then put down the hill after the people had left. He put it down in the same place as previously, without deviating from the former placement. The mountain was the same as before, Purvat, without any change, since he was endowed with great powers. He did this with great ease, which was attractive to all. All saw him hold it easily and put it down easily with the astonishment.
Thank you. So Krishna put it exactly in the place where it was before, and like nothing happened. Text 29.
All the residents of Vrindavan were overwhelmed with ecstatic love, and they came forward and greeted Sri Krishna according to their individual relationship with him. Some embracing him, others bowing down to him, and so forth. The Kohen woman presenting water mixed with yogurt and unbroken barley corns as a token of honor, and they showered auspicious benedictions upon him.
Yeah, can read the purport also. Nice.
Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that each of the residents of Vrindavan regarded Krishna in his own way, as an inferior, younger, member of the community, as an equal, or as a superior. And they dealt with him accordingly. Krishna's superiors offered auspicious benedictions, lovingly smelled his head, kissed him, rubbed his arms and fingers, and inquired with parental affection as to whether he was tired or pained. Krishna's equals laughed or joked with him, and those who were younger fell at his feet, massaged his feet, and so on. The word cha in this verse indicates that the wives of the Brahmanas joined with the cowherd ladies to offer auspicious items like yogurt and unbroken grains. Lord Krishna received benedictions such as this: May you subdue the wicked, protecting the decent people, give pleasure to your parents, and be enriched with all wealth and opulence.
Thank you so much. Yes, Sanatana Goswami, the cause was a great abundance of prema because of his actions in saving them. Great love. Or can mean but. This especially distinguished the gopis from the others mentioned. They worshipped him with affection. Here it means fresh anurag, They worshipped him with anurag. Anurag is great attachment in prema. Text 30. Someone read?
Mother Yasoda, Mother Rohini, Nanda Maharaj, and Balaram, the greatest of the strong, all embraced Krishna. Overwhelmed with affection, they offered him their blessings.
You can read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's purport also.
This verse describes more details of interaction with his mothers and others. It is not unsuitable to include Balaram in the group of persons with parental rasa, because he acts in that capacity as elder brother. But if this affectionate brother has hauled up the earth in his destruction as Shesha, why did he not show his own power when his younger brother held up Govardhana and helped him? The answer is that when Krishna made his decision to leave Govardhana to stop worship of Indra and begin worship of Govardhana and to protect the inhabitants of Russia, it will be improper and impossible for his Amsa, Balaram, to do anything else. Thus, Balaram did not show his power, as Krishna is the Saktiman, holder of all power, but his desire alone suitable powers will make their appearance in his Hamsa. In succeeding verse, also this conclusion is mentioned. In that area, sometimes the ancient depiction is seen of Yasoda and Rohini offering butter to Krishna to eat, while Krishna's father and brother hold Govardhana on their heads. This is out of excitement due to their affection, according to the Vaishnava Toshan. Thus, in this verse, they are described as being excited and confused by their affection.
Yeah. So Jiva Goswami. This verse describes his meeting with his mother and others, who were more affectionate to him than the other cowards and women, and were situated behind. Rohini's name is mentioned before Nanda's name, since Nanda gave her great respect, and she was the assistant of Yasoda. Balaram is called the best of the strong, because though he could have lifted Govardhana also, since he holds the earth on his head with ease, in his expansion named Sesha, he was not inclined to do so, because Krishna desired to perform his pastime. So can someone read 31?
Yeah. In the heavens, O king, all the demigods, including the Siddhas, Shadhyas, Gandharvas, and Charanas, sang the praises of Lord Krishna and showered down flowers in great satisfaction.
And now Jiva Goswami, the highlighted part.
Not only the people of Braja became joyful, but the inhabitants of heaven also celebrated. This is desired in two verses. Since Indra suffered broken pride, why did they act in this way? Why were satisfied? They were satisfied and joyful by seeing the sweet pastime of Krishna and the destruction of Indra's pride, which made him commit a sin, a criminal act.
Solely criminal act trying to harm the Vrajavasis. So I read the last verses. My dear Prakshit, the demigods in heaven resounding played their conchs and kettle drums, and the best of the Gandharvas, led by Tumbura, began to sing. Surrounded by his loving coward boyfriends and Lord Balaram, Krishna then went off to the place where he had been tending his cows. The coward girls returned to their homes, singing joyfully about the lifting of Govardhana hill and other glorious deeds performed by Lord Krishna, who had so deeply touched their heart. Vishwanath Chakravarti. While While Krishna was lifting up Govardhana, Radha and the other dear gopis were glancing at him from far off, unnoticed by others. When they were returning to their houses, they were singing with love. It should be understood that they had the ability to make songs about his activities at the moment. Shiva Goswami. Out of great joy, as if singing, Sukadev describes their entrance into Vraj. He was surrounded completely by the cowards, since they were attracted to him. He who lifted Govardhan to protect Vraj came to his house. Instead of Sargostam, sometimes Phagostam is seen. He entered his own house, that of Nanda, within the village Gostam. Out of this, everyone went to his house. He is called Hari because he took away the suffering of Vraj caused by Indra's pride, and because he was most attractive in performing his pastimes. All the gopis became joyful. They were able to skillfully compose songs at the moment. So this is the end of the chapter. In this chapter we have got an insight of the prema, the love of the Vrajavasis for Krishna. Of course, after these pastimes, all the senior cowboys will come to Nanda Maharaj and ask Nanda Maharaj, what kind of son do you have, that he does such wonderful things? Is he a demigod maybe? And then that will lead us to the next chapter, Wonderful Krishna, which we will discuss tomorrow. Our time is up. Thank you very much. I look forward to see you tomorrow. These chapters are more about relishing the bhav, the love of Krishna. It's not so much interested for those who are into jnana, knowledge. This is higher knowledge. Bhakti. Bhakti is Ladini, Shakti is the highest knowledge, and the highest realization, the absorption in love for Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow.